This week's episode is all about perimenopause and menopause.
Coming up.
They can't see me like Houdini, move discreetly. I go, they can't see me like Houdini, Lamborghini. It go, they can't see me like Houdini, move discreetly. It go, they can't see me like Houdini, Lamborghini. It go.
Welcome to Misbehaving Women, where we unapologetically dive into the issues that matter most to women, from wellness to feminism and everything in between. No sugarcoating, no filter.
We're here to spark conversations about the real life challenges we face, the topics that often get swept under the rug, and the ones men need to hear about if they want to truly support the women in their lives.
I'm Kelli Taylor, a best-selling author, award-winning acupuncturist, and hormone coach for women's health. I'm passionate about helping women live their best and healthiest lives.
I'm Rebecca McMillan, founder of Worthfulness.com, an online self-guided program that teaches teen girls and young women real tools and concepts they use to support unshakable self-worth for life. Together we're here to shake things up and have some...
I make some real. Sorry. Okay, so
do that again.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1.
Together, we're here to shake things up and have some real, no BS conversations. Welcome to Misbehaving Women's inaugural episode. Today's topic is the fascinating and very underrepresented world of perimenopause. So the flow of our episodes, it's a little bit about our life, what we've kind of dubbed life chats, and we dive very deep into the weekly discussion topic after our catch-ups. So in a little bit, we're going to get into perimenopause, and oh my goodness, the number of times I said, what? No! Well, Kelli is telling me little known facts about perimenopause. Expect your jaw to be on the ground. You know, we already actually have a year of topics planned, just thinking about the theme of our podcast. So there's lots of things that are going to be coming up for you to listen to. Well, the highlight of our week was, for me, the photo shoot we did together.
Oh, that was so much fun. We laughed so much.
Gosh, we didn't get to do like fake laugh posting.
I know, we did not. Yeah. And I think that too, our photographer was Nikki, and I think she loved our energy together because she kept saying, "This is so good."
Yeah.
I'm like, I hope she just doesn't say that to everyone.
No, and she kept saying, "Okay, that's enough. You can stop talking." I was like, this is why we're podcasting together.
It is. That is true. She did say that.
It's like, this could have been a podcast. You'd ask me for a nice photo of me, and I'm like, I don't even have one nice photo of me from like recent years that I like. So that was actually amazing to get one. Everyone should have one photo that they love of themselves.
And the one she did was, it looked so
good on the camera.
Yeah.
I was like, I almost started crying. Like, I have a photo of me I love right now. Just because with, a toddler, like, I almost never wear makeup. I never do my hair. So there's lots of photos of me, but not that I'm like, I want to put this out to the world. I'm not exactly like looking loud. I'm tired. Sleep has been an issue. I don't know if everyone believes in Mercury retrograde, but I'm sure that Evie responds to it. Like, every time it's happened this year, she has sleep issues. It's weird. Yeah. So it just ended a couple days ago, and I'm like, thank you. I hope this means her sleep stuff is going to end. Because she is, I don't know. Maybe it's just that there's always sleep issues. But I'm always like, what's going on? Is it a full moon? Mercury's in retrograde. That's what it is.
Yeah. I'm always Googling when things are hitting the fan, like shit hits the fan. I'm like, all right, what is going on? And it's either like the full moon or Metro, or what is it called? Mercury Metro. I was going to go Metro, Mercury. Okay, so you're going to figure out very, very quickly on the one that messes up the most in words. Yeah, I'm not even sure I understand what that actually means, but clearly things don't go right during that period of time. So.
It's when Mercury is apparently going, or it seems like it's going backwards from Earth. I don't know if it really is going, but there's like, this year I looked it up because I'm like, what is going on with this girl's sleep? And I need answers. And it said, there's actually one more time this year it's going to happen. Yeah, when Mars? Why would Mars be involved in Mercury retrograde? Mercury is going backwards. Yeah, I probably shouldn't talk about this. I'm not an astronomy expert. Google it, everybody. But there seem to be reasons energetically. And I know for me, I am definitely affected by the moon with my sleep. Like full moon, 100%. Massively.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I had been up every night this week, like middle of the night early, which there's been some beautiful sunrises I've seen early. It's light at like 4 a.m. now.
Yeah. Well, I'm an early morning girl anyways,
Yeah.
so I can, yeah, sometimes I'm up at 4 in the morning, sometimes 5 in the morning. I'm really fortunate if I can sleep till 6 a.m. Like I'm a get up
Whoa.
and go girl. I like to get up, exercise, get it done,
Wow.
and then I love the quiet of the early morning where
Yes.
that's when I get the most stuff done.
Yeah, I do like that after being forced to wake up early now. It is nice how it's peaceful. And if you go for a walk, there's like not that many people up.
Yeah, it's nice.
It is nice. I've been going to Van Dusen a lot this week, which is a beautiful botanical garden in Vancouver, if you haven't been here. I think it's incredible. I don't know. How many botanical gardens have I been to in my life? But I think it's a pretty nice one comparatively to
It is.
everyone.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it there.
So I like to go if I'm doing like remote work with my laptop at the cafe because you like they have a patio and you're looking at this like stunning place and it's pretty quiet and peaceful.
Right.
But yesterday I just started noticing, first of all, my fly was down. I'm like, God, why are these people? Why do you have to look at me? You know, and then you get the bathroom and you're like, oh, because my underwear is exposed.
What did they used to say as a kid? Like XYZ, examine your zipper.
What? I never heard that.
Yeah, really? Yeah.
No.
I remember as a kid that was the saying. It was like,
Oh.
XYZ. And you'd be like, what? And then you look down and you'd be like, oh, examine your zipper.
Oh.
So that's how you would tell somebody their zipper was down.
Oh, we'd say, hey, you're flying low.
Oh, yeah. And that was another one.
Okay, you don't.
Yeah.
Okay. I like yours better. It's way catchier. It makes it more of a fun thing instead of like, oh my God, when did this start today? But so every time I went to the washroom, which is usually, it's a very clean washroom, it's high traffic. I commend them as someone who critiques public washrooms. Every time there's pee on the seat. And and it made me realize yesterday, is there like women in the world that if you pee on the seat, you will wipe it up? And then ones who just leave it and say, like, F you, whoever is coming in next. Like, does that divide women?
I don't know. That's a good question. One place I noticed that a lot are airports. I find
Pee on the seat.
Yeah, pee on the seat in airports because it's such a high traffic place that I don't know. Are you peeing so fast that you
respect it less? You're like, I don't care what goes on in this washroom.
Yeah.
I've just got to get to my flight.
Yeah.
I just think it's so disrespectful.
It is
like, I don't care. Do what you're going to do there.
Yes.
But don't leave. Like, how in my life, I have wiped the pee off thousands of seats.
Oh, yeah. Same.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think there's women that do that and the women who are like, no. And they just go to another stall.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I thought it should be because every single time I went in a stall, there was pee on the seat. I'm like, come on, ladies. What are we doing here?
Yeah. No, I make sure when I leave that it's clean. Like,
right.
Yeah.
And we all just agree collectively as women to wipe the seat after you use it.
And those are people that are squatting. They're not sitting, right? So,
Totally.
And you want to squat, great.
Yep.
But if you pee on the seat.
Yep. I'm a put
your
your toilet paper
responsibility.
all over the seat so I can sit. So I cover it and then, but I respect a squat. Sometimes I squat. It's funny when I do it and Effie's in the bathroom with me, I squat because it's just like faster and she squats next to me. Like she's just copying what I'm doing.
Oh my gosh.
So cute.
My grandma had this paranoia. Like, think about how long ago that was. She had paranoia. And the whole time we were in there, she was like, don't touch the seat, don't touch the seat, don't touch the seat. She was like, we weren't allowed to touch it. We weren't allowed to put our bum on it, nothing. So I learned how to squat from my grandmother very, very, very young. And she would take us out, she wouldn't touch us, and we'd have to wash our hands right away. Yeah. And we weren't allowed to touch anything in the bathroom.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
That is ahead of her time, I feel.
Before germophobia started.
Well before the global pandemic.
Yeah.
Well, she was maybe in one. I don't know. When was the Spanish flu? I don't know.
I'm just going to chime in and say, if you can hear pitter patter and now some scratching, we have Finn with us today in the studio. So Finn is my Bernese mountain dog, and he is making a lot of noise, and I'm really trying to keep him. He was very good while we were talking off mic. As soon as the mic goes on, now he's getting up and moving around. So if you hear him in the background, just know that
he supports Misbehaving Women.
He
showing
does
support.
Yeah, he's our male support system. Yeah.
So Kelly's got a cruise coming up to Hawaii. She's doing, which I'm so excited for her to get a little vacation in. She is such a busy lady, and I worked on cruise ships. God, 25 years ago as like a cruise director, like hosting all this stuff. And so I was thinking, okay, what tips can I tell Kelly? Because I know you're like dreading all the days at sea. You have so many days at sea to get over
I know I hate saying this, but it is the truth. I don't really like cruises. I don't. It is not, it is definitely not the way I like to travel. But in saying that, I have a group of friends that I love dearly. They're like family to me, and they love to cruise. They are huge cruisers. And so if I want to go and hang out with them on vacation time, I've got
You
a
gotta get on the
cruise.
cruise ship.
Yes. And I don't enjoy the long sea days. I sometimes, yeah, I don't know. It's really not my jam.
There's a lot of people well, I would say a lot of people think cruising's not for them that haven't ever cruised. I know you did do a cruise and you were
Yes.
confirmed it's not your preferred.
Yes.
But for big families, I so recommend it because every age group, you go to your thing and you meet for meals. Like, there's something for everyone, I would
Yeah.
say. Multiple sea days is hard. It's certainly hard on the crew, let me tell you. They are dreading the sea days.
Yeah.
And then for the guests, unless you're a joiner, like for me, hosting all the activities that
Yeah.
they do, you've got your joiners and you're just hanging on for those people. But if you're not a joiner, go sit on the outside and watch the joiners. And that can be entertaining too if you're not, if you want. And I like my favorite thing about sea days was going at night to the top deck or actually any deck you can see it from and just sit outside. And usually it's peaceful and there's not a lot of people on the decks like later at night. And the moon is so bright when you're in the middle of the ocean, even if you're just off the coast and you can still see lights of islands and it shines on the ocean. It's to me one of the most magical, I don't know, moments you can have is being out in the ocean and the moon shining down on the water. And so I think on sea days you should try that.
No, and this is my whole thing. I feel like there's no chance in hell I could be out on that deck by myself. I would be terrified someone would push me overboard.
Oh my God, Kelly.
No, I don't. The first cruise I ever went on,
Somebody got
was
pushed off?
well, okay, so this is what happened. We found out through the staff because we had a friend who worked on the cruise ship. That's how how we ended up on this cruise. And we found out through the staff that they called it a jumper. And I'm like, well, how do you know they jumped? How do you know someone didn't push them off? So I was really enjoying the nighttime being out, walking the deck, until I found out. And I was like, what if somebody pushed that girl off?
But there's cameras. They would know if they were murdered.
But they're not telling me that. I don't know. It was just, obviously don't tell the guests that there's a jumper. But when we went into, where were we? I think we were in the Caymans, and everybody knew there had been a jumper on our ship.
Oh.
We're freaked out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, well, how do you know they jumped? How do you know they didn't get pushed off? I could not do the deck after that. I was like,
there are security on the decks at night trolling and sit on the bench near the wall. And that's like 10 feet to the railing and you can still see the moon.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Somebody could probably drag me. Yeah, no, it's just not going to happen. No, you're like, this is crazy. It might be a little paranoid. I'm not going to say it's not, but
I admit there were, for some reason, I guess some people, they do think that's how they want to go. And there were it wasn't like all the time, but suicide was a thing. Definitely, there is a morgue on board. There's a jail on board. Yeah.
No way. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, it's pretty, it's not no, I wouldn't want to say it's common. I don't know how common it is, but it happens. And the weird thing
I know, sorry, there's been scratching away. You can hear his little tick tick as he desperately wants to have attention.
wants to go on the cruise ship.
I know. No, yeah, I would never let him out there.
That's so funny.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And funny. It's not funny. It's sad. But Yeah, I don't think it's that. I would hate to think you're missing a beautiful thing, but okay. If you would be scared the whole time of being pushed off,
Well, I
it would
have a
not be.
balcony, so I'm feeling I can do
Oh,
that on my
okay.
own
Oh,
balcony. So I have a veranda.
Okay.
I'm happy to stand outside on my
Okay,
veranda,
good.
but in public places, not a chance. Not gonna happen. Like, you do not know who is on these cruises.
That's
I'm like, yeah,
hilarious.
no, thank
I
you.
think there's more risk of people getting extremely intoxicated and falling over. Like, I've definitely heard stories.
Yeah,
of
I
that
can see
happening.
that. And there's some rough sea days. Like I've
Yeah.
had
Oh, yeah.
oh
On the
my gosh,
crossing.
we took the Alaskan cruise.
Yeah.
Same group of friends.
Yeah.
And oh my
Getting
gosh,
there
it
is-
was it was brutal.
Yeah.
It was brutal. Like I was in bed just completely dosed up on what is it that you take?
The motion sickness.
Yeah, the motions. What is that?
Gravel?
Gravel.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, okay. Hopefully that doesn't upset misophonia people.
okay, we would definitely have to. Okay, Ben, I need you down. Down. Come on, down.
So I have been craving a rom-com for like a month. You know, like a good movie that's just like the classic rom-com from like, I don't know, the 80s, the 90s, maybe even in the 2000s. Did we have them? And nothing. Like every time I look at the movies, I can't find anything new, like one that I haven't seen. And then the other night, I was like, oh, this looks like one. It was like Bryan Cranston and Megan
I love
Mullally.
him.
Me too. Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God, such an incredible actor.
Yes.
And him with Megan Mullally, I was like, this is amazing. And I started it and I was laughing out loud a bit. And I was like, yes. And then slowly, after like the first 30 minutes, I felt it took a turn into like what I would call 12-year-old boy humor. And it was not at all what I thought it was. And I was like, no. I still finished it, but so I still haven't got my fix of an amazing new rom-com
I wish I could help you. I can't think of any
that have
good-
come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
it's
don't
been a
make them
while.
anymore. Right?
Yeah.
If anyone knows any, please tell me because I have just had a craving to just that, like, yeah, maybe some are coming out. So Evie is starting preschool next week. This week we have the like all the families go and meet the other parents and you see all the other kids, which I'm like, I'm probably going to be the oldest mom in the room. We'll see. I
You
don't
won't
know.
look it, so it doesn't matter.
I am curious. I'm like, what is the average age for people with 3-year-olds? Are they 30? I don't know. So we'll find out. And Paul, he's been dreading this day for, I don't know, 2 years. He's been having nightmares about it. So it's finally going to happen.
She's gonna love it.
I
though.
think so too. She's been ready and I'm so excited for her world to open up. But yeah, I'm starting as it gets closer. I'm starting to be a bit more like Paul too, where I feel the like, oh my God. But I so want it. So I'm just reminding myself of that. And actually, Bird's Papaya, like on Instagram, she keeps sharing a post because her daughter went to university. It's like a quote from, I think, Finding Nemo, something about the fish. And they're saying, oh, but I promised, whoever that nothing would ever happen to them, that I'd make sure nothing ever happened to them. And then the other fish says, but if nothing ever happens to them, then nothing will ever happen to them. Like, right? Like they have to live life and there's the fun side too. And if you keep them too protected. So I'm holding on to that. I'm going to send that to Paul the first morning for him to try and get through it. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm equally excited and terrified.
Yeah. All I can see is that she's just gonna thrive.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna have so much fun, and now she'll have like tons of friends. And
19 potential birthday parties to get invited to.
There you go. I feel like she'll be running the place, and yeah, she's gonna be
that would be
creepy.
amazing. So how's your week been?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been busy. So now on top of my full practice, I am back to school. So I'm back to school.
After 20 years?
Yes, after 20 years. So I've written my acupuncture board exam. So obviously I've been doing that for 20 years and it's been amazing. So. But in the back of my head, I still have 2 more board exams to write. And then once I write the 2 board exams and officially, I guess I can put doctor in front of my name. So I knew I had to do this. It's like, actually, I don't have to do this. It's not going to change how I practice at all. But it's one of those things that's been in the back of my head where it's like, you should finish this. It's like, I've got the last 5% to do.
Right.
Just finish it off. And I used to joke all the time, oh, I'll be like the oldest person to ever write these board exams. I'll be 80 or whatever, because I won't want to die without wrapping things up. And so I decided this is a really good time. I'm like in a really good place. Like I'm busy with my practice, and I felt like I had made a lot of changes in my life to have more room to do things that I like. And I thought, you know what? Why don't I just do it now? Get it over and done with. So I've been studying since the beginning of the summer, and I should have done it then, but I didn't. So I went online to register for the exam, and then they denied me. They said I've been out of school for 20 years. And I was like, first of all, to think that I've been doing this for 20 years, just, I don't know, it doesn't seem like it's been 20 years. I really enjoy what I do. I like love what I do. So it never actually feels like work for me. So the fact that 20 years has gone by is like, wow, that was pretty shocking. And then they told me not only do I have to go back to school, but I have to do 100 hours. Like, whoa.
Of
Classroom time.
Yeah.
Yes. So I need to sit with an instructor for 100 hours. And now that just became daunting at the thought of that. So, and then how the universe is, when you say you want to wrap something up, it gives you every test possible. So
To say, you sure?
yeah, pretty much. I think that's exactly, and to test my patience, I'm sure of it. But what I thought I had done is over the next year, I thought I had signed up for 2 classes, 1 per semester. And it turned out, no, I didn't do that. And I thought it was 2 hours a week. And I was like, I've got this. This is amazing. I'm going to be able to do this, no problem. And now my 2 hours turned into 5 hours a week and twice a week in class. And it's a lot more than what I had anticipated. And then, and then there's all like, first of all, I'm the oldest person in this class by a lot. Like the teacher is considerably younger than me. And then when it turns out that the teacher like still lives at home with his mom, I'm just I don't know. It's literally because it's like a sitcom. It really is. I could go on for hours about all the shit show things that have happened in the last week.
Everything you've told me, I feel like you are living a sitcom.
Like it is. It's really, really comical,
Yeah.
but I'm rolling with it.
Yeah.
I'm ebbing and flowing. I might be ebbing a little bit more than flowing, and it is what it is. So I just realized that okay, my last 5% is actually 10%.
Right.
And I'm gonna make it work, however it's gonna be. So that's what's
And this
happening.
is to be a traditional Chinese medicine doctor,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've already graduated the school. So
Yeah.
it's not, you know what I mean? Like I've done all these classes I'm taking, I've already done, but I did them
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
So my whole thing was like, oh, okay, I'll have 2 hours a week to study. Now I have 5 hours a week to study.
Well,
which is
no,
great.
to be in class.
To be in class, yes, which I consider to be my study time. Yeah, but things are a little bit slow in the classroom, slower than I would like. So I guess it's a lot of learning patience. So I'm rolling with that, and I also have to work my full-time schedule. So doing that, and now we've got the podcast.
But something you thought about for 20 years, it's worth it. Like,
Yeah.
clearly this matters.
Really want to get it done. Like
Yeah.
I don't really care about, and like I've really thought about this a lot. Like, do I care about the title? Not really, because if I did, I would have done this 20 years
Yeah.
ago. And well, all my other colleagues and friends from school were doing this. I opened a huge wellness center, and I was busy working, and
Right.
I've hit the ground running.
You
from
didn't
school.
need it, so you just started. Yeah.
And I didn't need it, and I wasn't attached to it. And I think
Right.
that was a really big thing. It's
Yeah.
like you can think about ego and what it is that goes along with that. For some people not so much. Like they don't care. I don't know. I didn't care about it. What I care about is wrapping this up, like feeling like I've completed
Yeah.
what I started
Yeah.
20 something years ago.
Totally.
So so here I
I
am.
love that.
Yeah.
That's inspiring too.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know about that, but it is something. So now I'm doing that, and so this week has been getting into a new schedule.
Just being in a classroom, like
Being in a classroom is really big, really big. Yeah, and just to have that energy around you again is different. It's way different than what I'm used to. So that's my week. Yeah. And that will be my week for the coming future.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys will hear the comedy as we go
Yeah.
because there'll be no shortage of
There will
antics.
not. Based on the characters I already know
Yeah.
exist, there will be no shortage.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure Finn will join other podcasts.
He will definitely join other podcasts, and at some point in time, we'll put him on our Instagram so you guys can take a look and see. Well, we're doing a photo shoot in a couple of weeks because we've got some merch.
Yeah.
That's the other thing this week that's really big is that we finally got our merchandise all organized, ordered. We're going to be doing a photo shoot. See, there we go. Photo shoot with our merch on, and we can't wait for you guys to see it.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty exciting to finally get it. We knew what we wanted, and now that it's ordered, it's going to be fun.
For all the misbehaving women out there to be able to wear it proud.
Yeah, we should have a misbehaving dog merch.
How would that go? Well-behaved dogs never make it.
Finn will be starting his own line. So he's going to branch off from us.
They can't see me like Houdini, move discreetly. I go.
I've had a morning ritual now for over 20 years that always begins with a matcha latte. I now drink mud water because the added mushrooms level up my day with natural energy, focus, and immunity support. To purchase, go to mudwater.com/wellness. It brings you to our Misbehaving Women's discount offer. Get $20 off a monthly subscription plus 15%, or go to the 15% off for your first time starter kit. mudwtr.com/wellness.
So we're talking about perimenopause.
We are. I love this subject.
Okay, good.
I do. I love this subject. I think because most women have questions. And there's a ton of really good questions out there. And then there are the people that don't have questions because they don't even know that they're supposed to be asking questions.
Totally.
So, yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing when I did the research was realizing, whoa, because I don't know anything really about this other than a few friends have mentioned to me that they're starting it and they've been seeing people. And it was that no one, maybe not no one, but most people don't talk about perimenopause. Like everyone, it kind of got out there about menopause, but not, and from my understanding, you're the expert, but menopause lasts much shorter. Like perimenopause can go years, and then menopause is like really just that 12 months of not having your period.
Yes. Well, I think, and this is how someone explained it, menopause is kind of really a day because, and we'll get into this about the stages of menopause.
Right. So that's what, like, people aren't, I definitely didn't know, like, oh, be on the lookout for perimenopause. And then reading the symptoms or whatever you want to, I guess they are symptoms. I was like, oh. And I was looking at celebrities that have talked about it because I'm like, who is saying anything about this? And there was like, maybe like 10 or 15. And everyone has a different thing or different symptom. And all of them, once they went to their doctor and told the doctor it was wrong, were shocked when the doctor said you're in perimenopause. Yeah. Because we're not taught to expect it.
Yeah.
Right?
I think using the word perimenopause seems to be new, even though it's not new. It's new in the sense that now women are talking about it. Does that make sense?
For sure, yeah.
So I think we've thought that we had our fertility years and then we go into menopause.
Yeah.
And so...
and it happens in a day.
And it happens in a day. Yeah. And I literally have that as one of the questions that people ask me. They're like, oh, okay, so does it happen all at once? And it's like, no.
Oh, they're like, I think I had menopause yesterday?
Well, they're kind of like, so they're just waiting for that
day to happen. Whoa. Yeah.
And it's
okay,
like when
I
they
could see
don't
that.
have their period
Yeah.
anymore. And I'm like, well, no, because you're going to go, menopause is 12 consecutive months
Yeah.
with no menstruation.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of women don't know that. I really do
Yeah.
believe that that is not a common fact. I
Totally.
think it's becoming more common for
Yeah.
sure. But if you can understand that it's 12 months consecutively without a period, and in that year you're going to probably most likely have some kind of symptoms, but really you're going to have symptoms for years leading up to
Yeah.
that. So perimenopause starts in the 40s.
Yeah.
Sometime in the 40s. Everyone's different.
Yeah.
And a lot of the symptoms for perimenopause and menopause are similar.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of crossover.
Right.
So a lot of women, I think, once they hit, which the most common, most women know, hot flashes, night sweats, those are the two most common. And so
I didn't know about the night sweats thing till I was reading about it.
Oh, yeah. It is one of the hot flashes and night sweats. Those are the two things that most women will come in and say, they're experiencing. So
what about the vaginal dryness? I saw that was like a top 3 symptom.
Yes. That seems to be, and it can happen in perimenopause.
Yeah.
I think most women during menopause
get that
and postmenopause experience
that.
And it can change along the way because think about it, during menopause, a lot of women still have their periods. So I think that...
Well, even more. Like, that's what I think is I was, like, all the celebrities talking about it. I didn't even write it down. Drew Barrymore said that she started having her period, like, every 2 weeks. So she went to the doctor and she's like, I'm getting my period even more. Like, you'd almost think the opposite.
Yes.
And they're like, you're in perimenopause and this could last 10 years.
Yes.
And she's like, I can't do this for 10 years. Like, what?
Yeah, that's not fun. Wow. It isn't. No, there's nothing fun about that.
None of the side effects I read sound good.
The other one, like, there's certain things. So, like I said, one of the biggest questions is, does menopause happen all at once?
Right.
And the answer is absolutely no, it doesn't. It's going to happen over several years, and you're going to see various changes.
Yeah.
And for some women, the changes are going to be their periods are going to shorten.
Yeah.
Some women, it lengthens.
Yeah.
And I don't know, is that a crapshoot? I don't know. It just seems that way, right? Because everyone comes in and their little differences that are happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the other thing that's shocking to me. You probably know a lot of natural treatments, and I'm sure acupuncture massively would help with this. But, like, in terms of prevention and, like, helping, the things I read were ridiculous.
Oh.
Like, for hot flashes, it was like, figure out your triggers. Is it hot temperatures? Well, what are you talking about? In a hot temperature, I don't know. I guess that could make a hot flash more. Spicy food, don't drink hot beverages. I'm like, is this what we're offering women?
That is true, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it can trigger.
There has to, like, okay.
It can, I feel like those things can trigger, but I think you're trying to figure out, how is everybody else in the room? So if everyone else in the room is either cold or perfect temperature, and you're sweating bullets, you're having a hot flash.
Yeah.
So I think they're just trying to get you to kind of notice what might be happening in your body compared to what else is happening around you.
Yeah.
So, like, when I go for dinner with my girlfriends, it is like, there was one night in particular which was just, for me, it was a little bit comedy because I'm watching them and they're taking turns having hot flashes.
Wow.
And so my girlfriend who's sitting beside me, 1 minute she is wrapped up like we are in Antarctica, and the next minute she is ripping everything off and she's got sweat just pouring down her. And I'm like, this does not look fun. Like, I cannot see how this is fun for anyone. Now, spicy foods, for some women, it can trigger a hot flash.
Okay.
So,
or drinking a hot thing can trigger it.
Yeah, or alcohol can also trigger them. So yeah.
So this is where I want, like, Whoopi in her stand-up said, how can you keep a man erect for 19 hours and not be able to cool down a hot flash? How is that possible? And I was like, that's me thinking, like, this is the advice we have for women? Like, just deal with it and don't have spicy food, like, or go to a hot plate. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm like,
I do. I see what you're saying.
like, what?
Yeah. No, those aren't solutions. Those are kind of like things that you want to kind of be mindful of.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say those are solutions by any means.
Right.
But they are things to think about because some women might be able to eat spicy foods. Some women, it might trigger it.
Yeah.
Alcohol, for sure. For some women, they're just like, no, my hot flashes go off the charts.
What another cruel twist of fate. Like, I can't even have a glass of wine.
I know, right? Just like, yes. Well, and now we know too, because now more and more, like I'm reading more and more things about how alcohol and hormones. Hormones, it just is not good. It's not good for your brain.
Yeah.
You know, but it's also not good for your heart.
But what vices are left? Yeah.
Yeah, nothing. No, nothing. So I'm always like, okay, if you're going to drink, let's do the cleanest alcohol, which is tequila, which happens to be my favorite. Okay. And I am not a big drinker. Yeah. I drink a couple times a year, but if I'm going to drink, it's going to be always tequila.
The good stuff.
Yeah. Interesting. I was with my sister-in-laws, and we were talking, and my sister-in-law was just like, I'm just getting into tequila now. And I'm like, well, it doesn't, there's no hangover. And she's like, really? So, yeah, she drank tequila and she woke up in the morning and she's like, I am feeling good.
What?
Yeah.
No. Okay, I haven't had tequila since I was 21 in Las Vegas because it was the worst hangover of my life.
Really?
Now, it was probably the cheapest tequila.
Oh, no.
And, like, I wanted to cry. It was so bad, but if I cried, it made it worse. It's just like, okay, well, I'm going to the pool. I was just in the room. Oh my God, it was awful. That was so bad. But it was like you went into the club and they gave you a mug full of whatever you ordered.
That is the cheapest.
Yeah, so I haven't had tequila in like almost 30 years.
No, you need to drink good tequila.
Okay.
Like $100
like the George Clooney tequila?
Yes. Casamiga. That's one of my favorite. Okay. But you have to spend around $100 a bottle. Like
okay. And then you don't get a hangover.
Well, I don't.
And are you like sipping a shot? Or are you like
No, we're drinking margaritas.
Oh, and not getting a hangover.
Yeah, but we also, we're not drinking sugar margaritas. We're drinking really good quality.
Okay.
High-end. We make them by hand, so we squeeze the limes, which I was the lime squeezer. Yes. I did. I think I did like 40 limes. Oh yeah. You should see my fingers afterwards. So and then we put maybe a tiny, tiny bit of agave syrup in.
Okay.
But it's tequila and lime
Pure lime juice.
Yeah.
And agave
sometimes
syrup?
we make them with a little bit of soda water. Sometimes we put, I'm trying to think what else goes in it.
Is it the crushed ice in a margarita?
Yeah, you put crushed ice.
Okay.
No, we do like cubed ice, not crushed. Yeah.
I feel like this recipe that you're saying doesn't give a hangover is what people will be most interested in from this episode.
I don't know. And I'm just going to say that both my sister-in-laws got up in the morning and were like feeling good.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, are they as like you're also the healthiest person I know. So I feel like your liver is just processing things easy and that's why you don't have a hangover. Are they super crazy healthy?
Well, they're both, they're not unhealthy by any means.
Okay.
I think, and I could be wrong about this, but I think they're, more beer drinkers.
Oh, okay.
So, to change over, but they woke up in the morning
and
they were feeling pretty good, and they're like, I'm really surprised.
You've convinced me. Next time I drink, I will try
you have
$100 tequila.
You have to do a high-end one. You can spend $50 a bottle, and still, you can get some. There's a couple of brands that are in and around $50, $60. Still good quality. I would go closer to the 100 mark. And I think that
the irony that I haven't really drank in years. It's really, I'm like, I drink tequila now. Kelly got me a margaritas.
I don't drink anything else.
Yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't say that. Every once in a while, I'll have a gin and I don't drink gin and tonic. I'll drink and soda. But again, I'm not going out and drinking 5 or 6 drinks.
Yeah.
I'm having one drink, sometimes 2 drinks.
You're blowing my mind to even do that.
Really good.
Yeah.
But you give me a couple drinks and I'm a singer. doing the karaoke. Okay, we're getting off.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things I wanted to do is talk about the things that I think some women know,
Okay.
but not everyone. So I thought we
Okay.
could kind of go through some of those,
Sure.
if that sounds
Yeah, tell
good.
me.
And then we can kind of just go through them. So one of the things is that there's 3 stages of menopause.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got perimenopause, which usually starts in the 40s. Then
Yep.
we've got menopause, so the 12 months
Yep.
consecutive no period, and then postmenopause. So this is the one that I think a lot of women don't know. And I just had this conversation while I was away with someone who still has hot flashes. And she's like, I don't understand. So postmenopause, obviously after menopause.
Yeah.
And she's like, I cannot understand. How is it that I still have hot flashes? She has bad hot flashes still.
It's a cruel twist of fate.
I know. And I was saying to her, so postmenopause is now, let's go back.
Yeah.
Perimenopause
Yeah.
still can have your period.
Yeah, still can get pregnant.
Can still get pregnant. So I think a lot of women don't know that they're in perimenopause.
Yeah.
And that it's perimenopause, you still have your period, can still get
still
pregnant,
ovulating,
but can also have menopause symptoms, which is technically perimenopause symptoms. Then we go into menopause and postmenopause. Now, postmenopause is the period where you don't have your period, but still have the menopause symptoms.
Maybe the cruelest thing. You finally are like, okay, I don't get my period anymore.
Yes.
Winning, but
so the women who are like, I have not had my period in years.
Yeah.
How am I still having hot flashes?
God, that's brutal.
That's a thing. So it is a thing.
Yeah, no, I read about that.
And there are things that you can do.
Okay.
Which we'll talk about near the end. We'll kind of talk about some things that women can do to help themselves.
Good. Because that's what I found very little on. Like, other than the standard hormone replacement therapy, there wasn't, maybe you're going to tell me that is the thing, but there wasn't a lot out there for women about what you can do.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely go through all of that. And there are some things, for sure. 100% there's some natural things that women can do for themselves to help themselves. And then there is premature menopause.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some women don't know. And that is going into menopause before the age of 40.
Yeah.
And that does happen.
I read a story in the research about a woman that had that.
So I
actually a famous Naomi Watts. She was in her 30s, I think.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. She's one of the women that talked about publicly about perimenopause.
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah. So that's a challenging one.
Yeah.
Especially if you thought you were going to have kids and waited and then
you're in freaking menopause.
Your phone. Menopause. Yeah, that's a hard one.
Isn't like women are not taught about this, hey?
No.
Like, that's wild.
Yeah. And that can be due to genetic factors, autoimmune diseases, and obviously women who have been through chemotherapy treatments.
Right.
Some women, that can also happen. Now, the thing is that I didn't know, so I had to Google it because I wanted to know what are the chances of premature menopause. So that's only 1% of the population.
Okay.
So
which is still a lot of people. For someone out there that has it, it's not like you're alone.
It seems like, absolutely. It's not a lot of women, but it's a lot of women that are still
when you take that whole number.
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely.
And also think about the fact that half the population goes through this in their life. Yeah. And there's almost no discussion about it.
I know. It's mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. I also found that 5% of women experience early menopause. So there's premature menopause, which is before the age of 40. And 5% of the population experience early menopause, which is before the age of 45.
Okay.
Yeah, because most women, it's in and around the age of 50.
Yeah, for perimenopause, I found a stat that said at 46 is when it starts, on average.
I think
because it's like a 10 to 12 years is perimenopause.
Yeah, I think it's most of the women that I have, and again, like I base this based on my own practice. But a lot of the women are in and around late 40s, early 50s. That's probably the majority of the people. So in and around there, it's happening.
I read a quote that said, perimenopause is like a surprise party for each woman when it arrives, because it doesn't get attention, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not a surprise party. Yeah, maybe, yeah, most people don't like a surprise party.
Yeah. And then there's this, I was going to say, is this, I'm trying to, sorry, I'm blabbering.
I'm throwing you off.
I'm blabbering. Okay, so then there's some things about menopause and heart health.
Okay.
So I was going to say, do we talk about the hormone replacement? Because we can.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, so one of the things with menopause is we actually increase our risk of cardiovascular disease, which a lot of women don't know.
Yeah.
And that
it's a silent killer of women, right?
Is.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I read about this and then I decided I'm going to ask women. So I started asking women, what do you think the number one killer of women is? Yeah. And pretty much every single woman said breast cancer.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me that we have such a fear of getting breast cancer, and yet it's heart disease that kills us more than anything else.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting. And
about women, like, once again, not being taught or educated on, like, hey, here's what you need to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. And they don't, I don't know, I feel like it's like they don't want us to know.
You know, that I was trying to think, I'm like, when's the first time I heard about menopause? And it was Suzanne Summers.
Yes.
Isn't she the first woman that really?
I would say that's a hell yes.
Because she did the hormone. She found proestrogen. How do you say that? Cream or estrogen cream. And it like totally like changed her life. And she wrote a book about it and did the book tour.
Yeah.
And I had never heard. But I remember her being like, I'm so happy. And I was so like, I had no energy and I was over life. And now I'm like thriving and my sex life is hot. And it was like, it was so dramatic to see this woman.
Highly controversial.
Oh, was it?
Out to do it.
Oh, okay.
And
why?
Well, because no one else had talked about it.
Oh.
Nobody else had brought this up.
Okay.
Like, think about it. Like,
was the treatment itself controversial, too?
I think the treatment itself was definitely controversial. I think everything about it was controversial.
Wow.
And I think that her being able, it's a woman who's trying to stand in her own power and take charge of her own health.
Yeah.
That's controversial right there, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Even more so, however many years ago that was.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel, too, she had this, and I'm sorry if I'm wrong about this, but I feel like she did such a good job in her career playing the dumb blonde.
The ditzy, yeah.
Yeah, that there's this woman who is not in character, who's her authentic self coming out. And I feel like because she did such a good job as an actress to play the dumb blonde, that maybe some of that followed her a little bit. You know what I mean? How do you trust what she's saying?
Yeah, totally.
You know, she's not a doctor.
Yeah. We're all just saying, like, what is Chrissy from Three's Company now? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. What was I going to say? Bone density. That's the other thing. You get rapid loss of bone density and an increased risk of osteoporosis and fractures. Fun.
There's going to be no good news in this.
I know. Well, and I have not even gotten into the lesser known facts. Those are going to blow your mind because I do talk about these and people are just, it's so, I love seeing people's faces when we talk about this.
Great.
So I'll go through the other ones, which a lot of women know, sleep disturbances. So insomnia, lots of women have that. Lots of women have that before, and then it gets even worse during menopause. But it is definitely a big reason people come in to get acupuncture.
They start to have insomnia.
Yeah. Mood changes. Some women, it gets worse as they head into menopause. I know my mother... I'm going to say this, bless her soul. She was, I'm going to say this. She was literally crazy. Like, she would call me up, and when she called me up, let me just put this into context. My mother lived in Toronto.
Yeah.
And I'm living in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And my mother would call me back in the day when we had the old school phone,
Yeah.
and I'd pick it up, and I didn't know it was her.
Yeah.
And she would yell at me about things, and I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. She was a mad woman there for a while. I was just like, and I was seriously concerned for her.
Wow.
Her well-being, because I could not understand.
You're like, she's losing it.
Yeah. I completely thought she was losing her mind. She would yell at me about stuff, and she would I was just like, what is going on with her? And I didn't know. I didn't know about I was 20, 21 years old.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
People probably thought women had dementia when they're, right? Like, you'd start to think, is this dementia?
Well, I think that's when they called them hysterical.
Right.
That's when women got labeled hysterical. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? And so she would call me up with this ridiculousness. And so she had massive mood swings.
And how long did that go on?
Well, interesting. Her journey was that she ended up going to the doctor, and they put her on hormone replacement. But back then, the hormone replacement was a little bit different. Back then, they used, and they still may use this, but from what I know, it has changed dramatically.
Yeah.
Horse urine.
What?
Yes. So that it would be impregnated horses and the hormones from the urine. And I'm not sure.
Is this the part where you're going to tell me something shocking?
This is true. It used to be horse urine. I'm not going to say they gave her horse urine. The hormones came from horse urine from pregnant.
That doesn't make it better, Kelly.
No, it doesn't. So,
whoa.
Yeah. And so.
And it helped her.
No.
Oh.
She wasn't on it very long. She ended up getting breast cancer, so they pulled her off it right away, which, I don't know, it's interesting now.
Was it from that?
Well, and that's the whole thing. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right?
Because the doses were probably not accurate then.
Probably not. And now they have bioidentical. So that would not be bioidentical hormones.
Okay.
So maybe that caused its own. I don't know if that had anything to do with her breast cancer.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I will say that they did pull her off that.
Okay.
And then she had her whole other journey down the road with breast cancer, and had to deal with a lot of childhood trauma. I gave her the book from Louise Hay, because now I'm still thinking my mom's crazy.
Yeah.
Right? And that she's got some kind of breakdown.
Yeah.
So I got her the book, Heal Your Life.
Right.
Louise Hay.
Yeah.
And I think that also helped a lot too.
Wow.
And she went through this whole transformation.
Love Louise Hay.
At some point in time, the hormones did she did see a natural path too, so she did do some natural things. Yeah, that was quite the journey she went on.
When I was looking at celebrities talking, Gwyneth, which, is Gwyneth go by one name? We all know who Gwyneth is if we say Gwyneth, right?
Paltrow?
Yeah. Is there another Gwyneth?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think she's a one-word celebrity. I don't know. She's like, I think when you get into perimenopause, you notice a lot of changes. I feel the hormonal shifts happening, the sweating, the moods. You're all of a sudden furious for no reason.
Yes.
And I thought that probably so many women don't know. Why am I suddenly furious for no reason? What is happening?
Yeah.
Right?
And it seems to be, based on the conversations that I've had with women, is that they had PMS before. So they knew
exactly
they were getting PMS, and that they had some mood shifts.
Yeah.
Then, and now it's like they don't know when their period's coming because their period's not
regular.
And this is something that's more intense. It's different.
Yeah, so they're not calling it PMS.
They're not calling it PMS
Yeah.
anymore. Yeah.
The other piece of that quote, which I thought was so good, is, I don't think we have in our society a great example of an aspirational menopausal woman.
I would say that's very
right.
100%.
Like, even in media or movies or it's not talked about.
No, it's not. And it's such a shame.
Yeah.
Because this is how I view menopause, this is a new chapter. Totally. It's a new start.
Yeah, and it's a new you.
It's a new you. And we've kind of had all these different chapters and versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
And now we're closing some doors. So I would say for a good chunk, not all, but for a good chunk of women, their kids are leaving home
Right.
as they're going through going through perimenopause
For sure.
and menopause.
Yeah.
So they've kind of got this period in life where they're going through the empty nester.
Yep.
Is that a syndrome? No. It feels like it's a syndrome because women are going through a lot just with being
Finding their identity when their kids are going away.
in a home by themselves.
Totally, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And now having to, if they're married, having to reconnect with their partner.
Totally, like, who are you? Yeah.
And I think this is a big time for divorce for a lot of women.
Totally, yeah. They were waiting to get the kids raised. Yeah.
So you've got the kids out.
Yeah.
Figuring out whether or not you're going to have a marriage.
Stay with this guy, yeah.
Whether or not you're going to get divorced.
Yeah.
And then what's next?
Yeah.
So some women also going through career changes too. I know
Tons.
that seems to be a big one, whether it's retirement or thinking about retirement. There's all these big changes. So we're kind of ending some chapters. And so that's why I say, like, this is the beginning of something new. What is that going to look like for you?
Which should always eventually, other than those people that have the post, which are still dealing with the hot flashes, it can be a time for thriving in a whole new way, like in your power, right?
Absolutely. Well, that's what I think this really is about.
Yeah.
But a lot of women have a hard time seeing that.
Because these symptoms suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I haven't come across the symptom that I'm like, oh, I wish I got that one.
You're like, oh, that's fine.
Yeah, like nobody likes, and cognitive changes is something that I feel like I am definitely going through, which is, some people refer to it as menopause brain, which I'm not down with that.
Yeah.
But it's brain fog.
The crappy
where
memory.
I'm like, I know what I want to say and it just doesn't come out. Or I'm looking at someone and it's like, I cannot remember names if my life depended on it.
Right.
Like I can't remember names.
Yeah.
And I know the person.
Yeah.
And yet it's like it's a blank. And
I've had that my whole life. What does that mean?
It's so bizarre. Or I have this thing where I'm trying to say something and I've never been the person who's had a photographic memory, but at least I could give you the gist of things.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like, I read something. It was good. Like, I can't even tell you. I'm like, I know it was good. I couldn't even give you reference on it. Or I'm trying to memorize things, and it's just, nothing is sticking. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to find words, and it happens to me all the time. I'm like trying to find a word, and I know it, and then I get scared, and I'm like, am I getting dementia?
Yeah.
And
I think a lot of women probably get freaked out in this perimenopause and think they're getting dementia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've thought that many times.
Because no one talks about this memory thing.
Oh, no. And it's really not fun because I'm trying to get my words and I can't find them.
Yeah.
Or they're in my head and it's not coming out right. I'm not sure what that is. And it's frustrating.
But are you saying after menopause that goes away? Or do women just have that brain fog forever?
No, I think all of these eventually go away.
Okay.
I do. At some point in time, you're going to level out.
Yeah.
So I do think at some point in time, everything levels out.
Okay.
That's what I've been led to believe. Let's just hope this happens. I hope that this, for me, the cognitive changes or the brain fog.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like that's been me my whole life. So I'm
And it's interesting because the muscle memory stuff that I have is fine.
Okay.
It's like trying to have a conversation and trying to grasp words where I know what I want to say. I just can't, the word is missing.
Yeah.
I tell you, that's so
brutal.
frustrating.
Yeah.
So that's one that I know I'm having.
Great. Yeah, so you are telling, the only ones I saw that were the big were the first sign is irregular periods, heavier or lighter than usual. The mood changes, which are like not PMS, that you're like, what is going on? Like, was it Gwyneth who I just said? It was like suddenly you're like so angry out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then the vaginal dryness, low libido, night sweats, insomnia, anxiety and depression ramp up.
Anxiety, depression, a really big one.
Which it would make sense that you're depressed if you're getting all these symptoms.
I think that's also the decline in the hormones. So I think that hormone fluctuation is going it for some women. But yes, also there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Right? So empty nester.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe you're getting divorced. Maybe you have to reconnect. Like there's all these little things.
You're not sleeping, maybe.
You're not
you don't want to have sex.
Not sleeping.
You got vaginal dry. Like of course you're going to be depressed.
And we can talk about even just I've had this conversation very, very often lately, which I think is really interesting, in the decrease in libido. And that's really interesting because I've had 2 conversations, same week, 2 different people, don't know each other.
Yeah.
Both are like, done with sex. Done.
Wow. And they're in perimenopause?
They're in perimenopause. And I was thinking, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Who knows? Like, don't close that door off for yourself.
Yeah,
completely.
so young.
Just know right now you're going through a lot. And that's okay. It's okay to go through a lot. Just know that things, whatever you're feeling now, are going to change again.
Yeah.
And maybe... Because I think our minds are so powerful. So if you tell yourself you're done, you know what I mean? Maybe that will become your belief.
Right.
When it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And the hormone replacement therapy, when I was doing all my fertility stuff, and I was on, I don't know what, I can't say the word,
progesterone.
Or I don't know what cream I was on, but suddenly my sex drive was like crazy. Like I was like an animal, where I was worried I was going to attack people. Like, I was like, is this what it's like to be a man? Like, I would be sitting in a meeting and just wanting to be, like, jumping on, like, a man, like, just, like, so out of character. I was, like, obviously on way too high a dose. But I'm like, who knows what's going to happen if they do hormone? Like, maybe they're suddenly going to have the biggest sex drive that they've ever had.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And some women do say that once their hormones level out, that their libido totally comes down.
Yeah.
And that they actually have better sex they've ever had in their entire life.
Yes.
Now, maybe that's because they got rid of their husband and got a new partner. Who knows? I was throwing that out there. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? I don't know.
Very possible.
Very possible. All right, so let's talk about some of the lesser known symptoms.
Yeah, tell me. Hit me with these.
These are going to be... So this one I know because... I've had women come in with it. So, which is very fascinating. The first person I know for sure who came in, I had no idea. I'd never heard of it before.
Okay.
And after some time, I can't remember whether I took a course or Googled it, whatever, I figured out that this is actually one of, and she was in, the first woman I remember distinctly because I didn't know what it was. She was in menopause, and the symptom is burning mouth syndrome.
Oh my God, that sounds awful and something I'm going to worry about forever now.
And she had the tongue and the lips burning all the time.
Kelli,
it didn't go away.
I feel like we can't put this out there. I will constantly be scared of getting burning mouth.
I'm dead serious.
As a hypochondriac and worrier, this is the last thing I need to have in my brain. Oh my God.
Yes. And for not all, but this was her case, because I've had other women come in who didn't have this attached to the burning mouth and lips, is a metallic taste.
We have to put a warning on this. Like, literally now my lips and tongue are getting tingly. Like, other hypochondriacs out there are just going to be obsessed with this. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. Can you solve that if a woman has that?
Well, we're working on, this is what I work on, is because it's caused from
the hormone.
The hormones. So we're working on supporting the system and the hormones. So that's how.
Wait, give it to me straight. Does she just has this, or is it better?
All the women that I've worked with are better.
Okay.
And some of them, it was quick, and some of them it took some time.
Okay.
But this does go away as things start to
even out. Okay.
But
okay, sorry, you were telling me nothing. Did you say tingling? Well, no, I said that. What was the next symptom you said?
It's burning the tongue and the lip.
No, the neck. You just gave another symptom. I couldn't get past the first one. Metallic taste. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that'd be fun either.
I've had that when I've had CAT scans before, and they release the dye in you. You taste it in your mouth, and it's awful.
Yeah. But this would be all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That would just
Like,
be a
it
nightmare.
wouldn't be for a day or two. This would be something that's continuous. Okay, so the next one is the worst. In my opinion, the next one
What is worse
the
than
worst.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm hoping I'm going to say
We have
this
to give a
correctly.
trigger warning with this. I'm serious.
Okay, so I'm serious. I hope I say this right. So it's called formication.
Oh my God.
See why I was afraid to say it wrong.
Yes.
So this is the sensation that feels like insects are crawling on or under the skin.
This is not real.
It is real.
We cannot put this out. This is terrifying.
Caused by hormonal changes affecting the nerve endings.
I am going to have anxiety about getting this. What?
I'm dead serious.
I wish I could go back in time before you just read that out loud.
Yeah.
What?
Yes. And I've known people who have had this. And they say it feels like little bugs are on them.
I can't handle this. So are they on anxiety medication?
The couple of people that I know ended up doing hormone replacement therapy.
And it went away?
Yes.
I would need to be like catatonic. Like you just have to put me out. That would make me go crazy in my mind.
Yeah.
That is awful.
It is awful. It is. I feel like that would be the worst of all the things that we're going to talk about today.
Okay. I do want to say, though, maybe a woman out there has that and doesn't know what it is or why she's having that.
Yes.
So the only positive of me now knowing this exists is that she now knows it's because you're probably experiencing.
Okay, so there's a couple of other things that go with this. Okay, so the women that I have known, there's only been a couple of women that I know who have said they've had this, and I know for sure that they went on hormone replacement therapy, and eventually this did go away. So that is one of the things that women can do to help themselves. There are topical creams and medications. So like there's like an anti-itch cream, moisturizer, topical steroids that people can use. I'm thinking that, I don't know, that one seemed a little weird to me. I'm thinking if you feel like you've got bugs crawling on you, I don't see how that's going to work. Not saying it does. Maybe it has helped somebody.
I could see a steroid numbing that. Like a steroid cream. It's kind of numbing you where you're feeling it?
Maybe. Could. I don't know. The other was antihistamines to help reduce the itching and discomfort.
Like, I feel itchy just talking about this.
Okay, but to me, itchy is one thing, and the sensation of insects crawling on you seems to be a different one. So
you're literally describing things in horror movies.
Yeah, this is a horror movie. Like, oh my God. Some women have to go on anti-anxiety, which is what you call to be able to manage the anxiety and stress. Lifestyle changes, so yoga, meditation, regular exercise, reducing stress, anxiety can sometimes help. I feel like I'm not sure how that would help with the bugs, but these are some of the suggestions.
I'm literally a shell of myself right now.
This is the other one, hydration and skincare. So maybe using lotions and things on your skin. Again, I just feel like I'm not sure how that's going to help, but
it seems to me as the very person who barely passed science, who is married to a scientist. That's always my claim to say science facts. Well, my husband's a scientist. If the reason this is all happening is because your estrogen is dropping, or your
not just estrogen, progesterone,
they're all like plummeting,
like everything,
right?
Yeah.
So presumably, if you do the hormone, like get the creams or however they do it now, I don't know, maybe it's in shots or whatever, and bring it back up, these things should go away in your body once you level up. Like that just makes sense, right?
Yeah, it does, and I think that's why maybe the hormone replacement makes the most sense compared to some of these other, the antidepressants or anti-anxiety
You're just
meds
treating
just to
symptoms.
you're just treating the symptoms, but also that just might help, you know what I mean, with your sanity
If you're
in
having
the
some
moment.
of those, for sure.
Yeah. The other thing was ensuring adequate intake of vitamins and minerals, especially the Bs. Magnesium can support the overall nerve health and potentially reduce symptoms.
I stopped taking magnesium. I got to start again at night.
Oh, that's so good. You
Yeah.
should take it at night before going to
Yeah.
bed. And then there was a couple other things. One was cognitive behavior therapy to manage the psychological aspects of it.
Yeah.
So that was good. And then it did say, though, that addressing underlying health issues. So some other conditions, such as diabetes or neuropathy, and managing these conditions can help alleviate the symptoms. So maybe it's linked to some other health conditions. So you may want to go and see your doctor if you're having this. So maybe it's beyond just the hormone imbalance. It is saying diabetes and neuropathy. So.
This is so complicated too, because I'm just thinking, let's say a woman is listening and is thinking, oh my God, this is what I've been having and I want to try this. Mm-hmm. Let's say you're in the States. Like, does everyone get hormone replacement creams? Is that easy, I wonder? You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think right now the hormone replacement therapy is still controversial.
Oh, it is? Okay.
I do. I think it's still controversial.
What?
I think there's still some people that are saying that you shouldn't do it. It's bad for you. It causes breast cancer. It causes other health issues. I don't believe that, and the research that I have personally done is showing the opposite.
Okay. I think and everyone has to do their own research.
Everybody has to do their own research, 100%.
Yeah.
And
we are not doctors.
We are not. And you need to go talk to your physician or your naturopath or your functional medical doctor. Those are the people that are going to be able to help you. I like when people go to the functional medical doctors or to the naturopath because I'm thinking you're getting a wider range of
solutions.
Information.
Yeah.
Where I feel like medical doctors, a lot of times they like to say no, they don't want.
You just got to wait it out.
Yeah. And so.
Or I read that they put women on birth control to treat this, which to me that would be more concerning.
Yeah, I definitely have patients that went back on birth control. I don't know. People have to try different things.
Yeah.
I think that is one way Western medicine would deal with it, where I think your functional medical doctor or your naturopath would not.
Yeah.
So I think there's different ways to go about it. I don't know how that is helping you.
Yeah. But also whatever you have to do to get through this, do it. Because it is a period of time and you do come out the other side. And ironically, I thought that we would talk more about how like this is so amazing for women when they come out the other side. And in a way it's freeing, right? Like that part of your life you don't have to deal with anymore. And although there'd be an emotional component to that, it's a beautiful thing too. You're in this new sort of wisdom. What do I really want in life? Phase. But actually I am so shell-shocked from what you told me that I don't know if I can put a positive spin. Now I see why people don't talk about it.
But we also said, too, we're going to do a few different episodes on
You're right, different angles.
That can be... that's how we should end.
Our final menopause episode
is how to wrap it all up in a pretty bow. But I think these things are things that I really wanted to talk about because I think they're important, and I think that this gives you some food for thought about what's going on in your own body. And if things are changing and you don't know why, then you can put a question mark around, is this perimenopause?
Yeah.
And what's going on in my body? And how long has this change been going on? And what else is going on that I don't know or haven't really tuned into or have made excuses about? Oh, it's just because I'm tired or I haven't slept enough or do you know what I mean? And maybe if those things are happening, okay, well, maybe if you're not sleeping enough, maybe you aren't getting enough sleep. Maybe this is from hormones too. So
I'm still
these are all food for thought, what's going on in your body. And a lot of this stuff, like, the next one I'm going to talk about, which I feel like you wouldn't necessarily put with perimenopause.
Are you doing another symptom?
Menopause. I've got a lot, don't worry.
No!
Is dental issues.
Oh my God.
So hormonal changes can affect your oral health. So leading to dry mouth, which is a really big one.
I have dry mouth.
Dry mouth, gum inflammation, and increased risk of dental problems. So some of the dental problems include sensitivity in the teeth. So that's a really big one. Gum disease like gingivitis is also increased. And again, that has to do with hormonal changes. Bone loss in the jaw, which I thought was really interesting. I didn't know this one because we do talk about bone loss, but I didn't think about your jawline. There's just a never-ending list. I'm not going to lie. Burning mouth syndrome, altered taste, which again, I didn't know. Hormone changes can affect your taste buds.
Wow.
How crazy is that? Leading to that metallic taste in your mouth, but also changing how foods taste a little bit.
What a journey women go through in their life.
Oh, I feel like so crazy. Increased risk of tooth decay. Really? I'm like, changes of oral pH and reduced saliva can lead to higher risk of cavities and tooth decay.
Wow.
All right.
Also, the mood swing thing, I think, is so important to get out there. Not the swings, the fact that it's more, like you said, more aggressive. It's not PMS. It's because that can really affect your life. Your relationships.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't, it's not you, it's your hormones. But you're not yourself, but you're probably ruining relationships in your life. And it's because you don't even know you're in perimenopause. It's your hormone, right?
Well, one of the things that I was hoping is, yes, when we started this podcast, we wanted to reach women of our ages.
Yeah.
So for the listeners, there's about 10 years difference between Becky and I.
Yeah.
Becky's still in her 40s.
Yeah.
I'm in my 50s. And I'm hoping that these topics that we talk about, it's not just going to be perimenopause and menopausal women. I'm really hoping we can also reach, I want to hit the women that are in their 20s and 30s because I want you to be empowered about what's coming up.
Yeah.
I don't want to scare you, but what I do want you to know is that things are going to change. And when you have this information is power. So you're going to have some more information, but all of you have mothers that might be in the perimenopause, menopause ages. And to be able to connect, or teenage girls, trying to figure out, why is my mom acting this way?
Totally.
I want women to feel supported during this time.
Yeah.
And I feel like we get, my mom, I literally thought my mom was crazy. I did not understand what was going. I was 20 years old. My mom is acting like she's lost her mind.
Yeah.
And in a million years, I could not have told you it was menopause.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what that
Yeah.
was. I knew that you stopped your period. At some point in time, but I thought you were super old.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
60, 70, 80 when that happened.
Yeah.
I had no idea. No one told me
Yeah.
any of this. So I had no information and context. And if I really sat and thought about it, which I'm not going to because I probably cry, I feel so bad because I was probably horrible to my mother.
Yeah.
I probably was not, and not horrible in the sense that I couldn't support her.
Yeah.
Horrible in the sense that I couldn't be, I couldn't find that kindness in me to be sympathetic for what she's going through, or to be more patient with her. I wasn't patient with her because I'm like, Mom, you're losing your mind.
Exactly.
I have no idea what you're talking about. And so
I would be gentle with yourself on that.
I would love for women of younger generations to be able to understand that this one day is going to happen to you, and that you might have grandmothers, mothers, and aunts that are going through this.
Yeah.
And so that you have a good context of what is happening in this situation.
And ask, if you have a relationship with those women in your life, ask them.
Yes.
If, maybe, depending how old your mom is, say, how was it for you? are you in perimenopause? What symptoms, how did you know? Or when did you go through Like, I've asked my mom that, right? I think it just, like you said, you're empowered when you know.
When you know.
Not necessarily that you'll have the exact same as your mom, but probably some similar things. I don't,
Yeah. And I'm thinking too, like, what about my grandmother? Like, my grandmother.
Those poor women didn't have a clue what was going on.
And didn't have a clue what was going on and couldn't talk about it because there was no one to talk about it with. Because you and I can have this conversation in this day and age. But back then, women didn't talk about these things.
And what did they do when they got hot flashes? They probably just, like, leave the room?
I don't know.
Like, they were probably embarrassed.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah. And I'm sure they must have felt really alone and scared because they don't
totally know scared.
And then they go to their doctor, who back then was mostly men, and I don't know.
Yeah.
God knows what those men were telling women. What was happening to them? How terrifying is that?
Yeah. This is when your doctor still smoked with you. So
exactly. Yeah. All right. So, do you want some more bad news?
No. Okay.
So, hair changes.
Oh,
So,
no.
you and I, before this, we did talk about hair changes a little bit. So,
We did? I've even forgotten that.
one of the things is hair thinning.
Oh.
Yeah. So you'll hear a lot of women talk about their hair and how they used to have this beautiful full head of hair.
Yeah.
And that their hair is thinning.
But does that stay, I wonder?
Well, look at every grandmother. You can almost
That's
see
what I'm thinking. Women do have thinner hair. So that just stays once it happens.
Stays, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a little bit, I don't know. I've always had really thick hair, and I've always had to actually get my hair so that they have to cut underneath and thin it all out. And I'm thinking, one day that may
They
not
won't
be.
need to thin your hair out.
I'm in denial at this point. I guess like, that's not happening to me.
Yeah.
I'll take the brain fog.
I always
the hair.
Give me the more memory loss. But I always thought that was the cruelest thing when you have a baby and you lose all your hair, like of Mother Nature.
Yeah.
It's like, really? Yeah. You're at your like most tired. You've got bags in your eyes and now you lose your hair.
Yeah. And that's from hormone changes. And
then again.
Yeah, here we go again. Now, the other thing is, which no woman, I don't care who you are, there's not a single woman I know that wants this, but it's increased facial hair. So
I've had that for years.
On your head, and it's coming on your face. Kind of like men.
Yeah.
Crazy.
When I was like in my 40s, I think, I started, like you can go to the salon or the spa and they have a fancy name for it where they like take a razor.
Oh, what is that called? I've seen Instagram has like
you can go to fancy spas and it's like exfoliate.
Derma something?
You're right. It is derma something.
Yeah, because I see there's like trying to sell a product.
Yeah.
That you can do it on your own and it's cheaper than a spa.
Yeah. But I just do it myself. I literally started to because, well, for me, it's not like I would maybe have like, I suddenly noticed I'm like, oh my God, like a chin hair, like would suddenly appear, like a one dark chin hair. And you're like, what is that? What is happening? But you could like pluck it. But then I notice in photos, like if I'm in the sunlight, I have all these little hairs on my cheek or under my chin, like little blonde hairs that you would only see in sunlight.
Like peach fuzz?
Like peach fuzz.
Yeah, but I've always had that.
Oh, so I shave my peach fuzz.
Oh, okay. So let me ask you because I'm curious about this.
Yeah.
Now, on Instagram, when they're doting their products, I do not know what's going on. They show it and they're like, just say scraping the face. But there is a ton. Is it supposed to be dead cells? Like they're saying like all the stuff comes off. It's not just hair. There's no way when they're doing the demonstration.
I haven't seen those.
Oh.
But when I do it myself, it's just the peach fuzz. It's not like if I'm using just like a razor, it's just peach fuzz coming off. I'm not like seeing a bunch of stuff on the, no. But the other ones I have to pluck because they're like in weird places. Like I think in my 40s, I suddenly started noticing like a random thick black hair.
I've not had that.
Oh, Kelly, it's a nightmare. I'm
going to knock on wood because I really don't want that. I have like the little peach fuzz, but I don't have more or less than I've ever always had.
I just had a memory.
Don't.
When I used to work at a big corporation at the Christmas party, one of the executives' wives came up
checking.
to me. Yeah.
like, oh my God.
She came up to me and she was so drunk. She's probably nervous to be there. Her husband said exactly. She doesn't know anyone. It's a horrible situation to go to your spouse's Christmas party. And she clings on to me because I'm like chatting to her. And she's like, she goes, tell me, do you see any chin hairs growing out of my chin? And I'm like, what? And I go, no. And here I'm in like my 20s and I'm like, what is she talking? I didn't know this is a thing. She's like, I tell my kids, they give you $20 if you tell me any like chin hairs or like mustache hairs that you notice so that I could plug it. And I was just like, I was like, what? And now that's me. And I'll probably say to my daughter, $20 if you notice a thick black hair that I miss growing out of my face.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I do. I get that for sure.
Okay.
So that's hormone.
Yeah.
But I've had that since I don't think I was in perimenopause in my 30s. I had regular periods, but I've had that, like a black hair here, a thick black hair there growing.
Yeah, it's interesting. My girlfriends joke about it all the time. They're like, you're going to get this thick dark hair. And I'm like, okay, knock on wood, that has not happened. Swear to God, that's never happened.
I don't think you're going to get it. You don't even get gray hair, Kelly.
I'm not even looking. Oh, interesting that you said that. So, I have 3 sisters.
Yeah.
One of my sisters was just like, I went and got hair analysis. And she said, she went and got her hair analyzed.
Yeah.
And she said that she had to dig around to find a gray hair. Now, she's older than I am. She's like me. She doesn't have gray hair.
Oh, I thought it was from your acupuncture. But it's just genetic, maybe.
I think it might be genetic. Well, interesting enough, because so that would be from my biological father's side.
Yeah.
That sister. But on my mother's side, I had an aunt and uncle who, like, I remember my aunt,
didn't have gray hairs?
Yeah, and she just, like, didn't have, I don't know, I remember her being, and I remember it was a conversation that she didn't have gray hair.
Wow.
So interesting.
I mean, on my actual 30th birthday, the day I found my first gray hair on my head. So, I don't know, I get, you won a genetic lottery. I always thought it was your acupuncture. But maybe it's just good genes.
Oh, that's so funny because my niece kept saying, oh, what was her saying? She was hilarious. She kept saying, oh, what does it feel like to be God's favorite?
Yes.
Because that's what she said to my sister because she was bragging that she didn't have any gray hair.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, what does it feel like to be God's favorite?
They can't see me like Houdini, move discreetly. I go
just the basics of reasons I love mud water. It's all organic, pure ingredients. So the gluten-free, non-GMO, vegan, there's no fillers or dextrins, those things that like spike blood sugar and are common in so many products actually. They have almost 50,000 reviews as well. So it's not the type of thing I'm saying, just take my word for it. Go and read all the reviews about people raving about mud water products and the positive impact they've felt on their well-being. Mudwater.com, MUDWTR.com/wellness brings you to our Misbehaving Woman extra discount options. $20 off if you subscribe to the monthly version, plus another 15%. Or just go for that 15% off your first starter.
All right, do you want to keep going?
There's no right answer to that. Only for the fact of educating women in the world, yes.
All right. So, digestive systems.
Oh, God.
Symptoms. I said systems. See, that's what happens with the perimenopause. Shit comes out of my mouth. I'm like, why is this coming out? So, digestive symptoms. So interesting enough.
I'm so scared of the thing you're going to say.
So, a really common one, bloating, indigestion, and change in bowel habits.
I thought you were going to be like diarrhea or something, and I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Well, that could be under changes in bowel habits.
God.
One of the things that also changes is hormones affect our microbiome. So that's one of the reasons why digestive symptoms come up. So I'll get a lot of women that come in who will be like, I don't understand. I'm bloated all the time.
Oh.
So depending on their age and what other symptoms they may have, I'm like, that's hormones.
Right.
So let's keep working on the microbiome. I think that's huge. Everyone should do that.
Totally.
We're definitely going to do a podcast on gut health.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. But also our microbiome in our vagina also changes. So that can also
Did I know there was a microbiome in our vagina? I don't know if I knew that. Like the healthy bacteria?
The bacteria is also in our
I
vagina.
never really thought about it.
That's
Okay.
how you keep the pH.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is like up inside, or is this on the outside in the vulva? Where's the microbiome in the
Inside
vagina?
our vagina.
Inside.
Yeah, inside.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm sure we have, I'm sure, yes. I was going to say on the outside.
I mean, like, in the vulva, like, there's like a wetness there.
I'm sure there must be microbiome there.
Yeah, there must.
That makes sense based on everything that comes out. But yes, this is inside. So, and the decline in estrogen levels during menopause can lead to changes in the vagina. So, it's never ending. And then also for some women I think this, I'm going to say this probably happens to every woman, but our vagina also.
Every time you're about to say something, I have bated breath.
It's called atrophic vaginitis. So the thinning of the vaginal
walls.
Oh,
yeah, because it gets dry.
Lubrication can occur, causing discomfort, dryness, and also making it more susceptible to infections.
To UTIs, right? Yeah. For senior women.
Well, so one of the things that I was going to say is I get a lot of women who come in who have more infections in their vagina. So it's interesting. I've had this conversation lots of times. These women all seem to be in the perimenopause.
Yeah.
More so than menopause. And I'm not saying it's not menopause. I don't know. But one of the things that we discuss a lot is just the change in the microbiome based on the hormones.
Right.
So, which are leading to more infections.
I remember that with one of my grandmas, that it was common in the old folks home for the women to get UTIs.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's not just UTIs, but it's interesting too because the Western world just wants to give antibiotics. But the problem is that it can't to give more antibiotics.
You're taking away the healthy.
We're getting rid of the healthy, but we're starting to get into this cycle.
Yeah.
And I find that you're going to clear them up, then they're going to come back and more things happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There are some healthy ways to be able to, you can do probiotics for the vagina too. So there are ways to.
There's vagina probiotics?
Well, there are.
Or like a cream?
I think they're more like, you can take oral ones that also help. I have had, and I don't know if this is the norm, but I have had patients come in whose naturopaths have given them some suppositories that have helped.
Okay.
So I don't know how that works.
Okay. Something to ask your doctor.
Yeah, I don't have personal experience with that either, so I'm not sure. But there are some things. I usually say increase your probiotics, like your foods. So diet's really important.
Right.
So eating, especially if you can eat the fermented foods, things like yogurt and sauerkraut, things like that. So I really like to get people to work on their microbiome regardless of what age you are. I think that's super important. Yeah. So, especially considering that your microbiome and your immune system and your mental health all have a connection.
Totally.
So, I think that that's super important regardless. Maybe this is controversial, but I don't care. Please stop douching. It is the worst thing you can do. You're taking away all the good bacteria. And I feel like there's still this stigma of women's vaginas smelling.
Do people still douche?
Well, they're still selling them. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think this is a conversation people usually have. I think women secretly do it. I think they're embarrassed. I think that most women who think they smell don't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that some women do it, and then there's sprays and please stop using those.
Whoa.
You have your vagina has its own cleaning system.
Yeah.
If you have good gut health and you're eating properly, you are not going to have problems.
Yeah.
And it has its own cleansing system.
Yeah.
Please stop polluting it. And you're just going to create more problems for yourself.
I think I did that once as a teenager. And it was because I did start to get a smell. And it was because I was on a new birth control pill. And that was a side effect of it. And as soon as I went off it, it went away.
away.
But for 3 months, I suddenly got it. I didn't make the connection. I'm on a new birth control. And that's causing this. And so something else to think about if you're suddenly.
And know that if you have that you have noticed a smell, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Like you have a yeast infection.
Right.
You've got something going on. You've got some kind of infection.
Yeah.
There's an actual problem.
Right.
Stop
Go
douching.
get a pap test or something.
Yeah. Stop douching. Stop putting sprays that are trying to hide that. You've got an actual problem. So
right.
Let's go and fix the
good
problem.
point. Yeah.
So that would be my 2 cents. I literally have a ton more things. So, joint pain.
Oh my God.
I'm going to talk about joint pain because this is a really big one.
Yeah.
I cannot count how many women have come in over the many years that I've been doing this.
Yeah.
That are like, I think I have arthritis.
Yeah.
That's the first thing everybody thinks about when they either their hands or their knees. I would say probably knees are the one that most were like, all of a sudden my knees are hurting or my hands really hurt. I'm positive I have arthritis. I'm going to see the rheumatologist.
Wow.
And I'm just like, I think it's hormones.
Yeah.
Because the decline in estrogen is definitely linked to joint pain. So
can I just offer something else unrelated? For me, it's foods I eat.
Yeah.
Totally caused what I call arthritis, but it's not. It's just inflammation. It was my 40s when I realized, when I have gluten or when I have dairy, I feel like I have arthritis in my joints. And if I don't eat those things, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
So just something else to consider for people. Yeah.
Well, and allergies and sensitivities increase with hormone fluctuations.
Oh, interesting.
So there may be a link there
right.
too. Tingling extremities. So this is another one where you're getting the tingling sensations and the numbness, hands, feet. So it's also changes in our circulation and nerve function.
From hormones.
So, hormones.
Isn't it wild that you're not taught about hormones in high school?
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Look at how much it rules our lives.
What do they talk about with girls? Don't get pregnant.
I know.
Don't get pregnant. I had sex ed in high school, Sex with Sue. Do you remember Sex with Sue?
I went to an all-girls Catholic school, so our sex ed was different. I was taught sex ed by a nun who had presumably never had sex.
Okay. Sex with Sue came to our school. And our whole thing was how not to get pregnant. That was the focus of it. She pulled out condoms. And
was Sue just one woman that taught this?
Yeah, I think did she die recently? She died recently. So she was a Canadian registered nurse and sex educator.
Okay.
Again, my perimenopause brain, I'm like, was that right?
Right.
So she came to our school. Yeah. Hilarious.
Oh, good.
So she's telling us how not to get pregnant and how not to get pregnant and how not to get venereal diseases.
Oh, wow.
So she pulls out the condoms, and this is Sex with Sue in a classroom with boys and girls.
Wow.
And she pulls it out, pulls out the
banana? No.
And throws the condom on the banana in front of everyone. And then she says, this is for sex and this is for oral sex.
Wow.
So the girl beside me puts up her hand.
Yeah.
And Sue says, yes. And she says, what's oral sex?
Oh, bless her heart.
And Sue is
how old are you guys at this point?
Oh.
Like 13? Like, is this grade 8 or grade 12?
I want to say 14.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to say maybe 14, 15, in and around
there. My
God. Good God. So, so Sue is still holding the banana with the condom on.
Yeah.
So she's like, it's when you use your mouth. And the girl's like, I don't understand.
This is amazing, Kelly.
I cannot remember, but at the end of it, Sue was like, basically, come see me afterwards because...
I thought you were going to say she started demonstrating oral sex.
She was trying to politely say, you put your mouth on the penis.
Yeah.
And the girl just couldn't wrap her brain around it. She just kept asking more and more questions. It was getting more and more awkward. And finally, she was just like, you need to come talk to me.
Was she, and is there any way this girl was like, messing with Sue.
No.
Just like the most naive person on earth.
Completely dumbfounded.
Okay.
Had no idea what she was talking about.
Like, imagine how shocking it would be
Yes.
the first time that you hear that this is a thing that happens.
Right.
And she's so naive that she's saying it in front of
everyone.
And like the boy, I can't fathom that. Going to all girls school.
Oh no!
Wow.
Oh yeah.
I always thought that was kind of like a joke. I didn't think that they really used a banana.
Oh, they used a banana with the condom on it. Talked about everything, yeah. But I felt like I was a little scared, I'm not going to lie, because I knew about getting pregnant. Okay, so yeah, that was, of course, number one thing my mother.
Yeah.
How my sex education was is my mother opened up the encyclopedia and showed me the uterus with the fallopian tubes. And I am just like...
She's like, this is inside you.
What is going on here? I had no idea what she was talking about. And that, for sure, was not inside me. I was convinced. And I basically just went, yeah, okay.
You're like, make this end.
I'll read this on my own time. That was sex talk.
Wow.
The end. Yes.
Wow. I will give my mom credit that from a very young age, she had all these books that some of them she would do together with me and my brother, and some we'd have to do individual with her. And it was like, there was naked, and we would just be giggling, like uncontrollably giggling. So it was like naked people and like showing sex and how it worked and like how the period.
Wow.
So from a very young age, there was like at different ages, different books. And thank God, because truly the sex education in grade 8 religion class was, I can give you the extent of that. Don't hold a boy's hand because that will lead to pregnancy.
Yeah. So you grew up in Catholic school.
Yeah.
So my mother also grew up in Catholic school. So the fear of God was put into her for sure.
Yeah.
And she didn't have no one. My mother, when she got her period, thought she was dying.
I was thinking about that when you're talking about that other generation, about when they were going through menopause. I thought, what about when they got their periods? Yeah. They probably were terrified.
Thought she was dying.
Yeah.
She went to her sister because she couldn't go to her mother.
Yeah.
Went to her sister, and her sister had to tell her. She
wow.
She thought she was dying.
Wow.
I think that's so horrible.
It's so horrible.
So my mom thought she was going to be better, which she was, then because she had no education.
Right.
And then my mother went right to the science.
Right.
And don't get pregnant, which I didn't know. And then here's Sue talking about venereal diseases. And
blowjobs.
Like, what the hell is she talking about? And I'm like...
I wonder what it is now.
Because when I was in and around that age, that's when AIDS came out too.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, we're all terrified of AIDS.
So now... It's like terrified to have sex to die or terrified to have sex and get pregnant.
Yeah.
Both were equally as
bad. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that was a big, scary thing. Yeah.
So very interesting. And different people have different things. Now, apparently, nobody's afraid of AIDS because in having a conversation with the nurse, she's like, oh, no, nobody worries about that. They just take drugs. And I'm like, but they still have either HIV or AIDS, drugs or not. And that's not guaranteeing you may live longer than you used to live, but you're taking cocktails. You're still not living a long life.
Oh, you are. If you take PrEP, you can't.
But over time, taking all those drugs has got to wear on your body.
Maybe.
That's got to be hard on the liver.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you're going to pay for something.
I think maybe I shouldn't say this. Most gay men, I think, take PrEP. It's just like the done thing. Wow. Yeah.
I don't know.
That's another episode. We're not doing men's health.
I know. Sorry about that. And I'm not against, obviously, you figured out something, but I don't think that mentality should be why do you know what I mean?
Have unprotected sex.
Yeah. I'm just like, God, or not be afraid to, you don't want to be afraid of it, but you want to be mindful that this is something that can happen. Do you know what I mean?
Even more important, well, it's not more important. It is important that there is sex ed, obviously, in school, but like, I think there should be one class that is like the hormone class. I don't know what year is appropriate, but knowing how much it affects, we've talked about this before, I think, in sessions, like, for girls, it affects so much. It affects your relationships when you're a teenager and you don't know what's going on and why you're like, your mood is up. All that stuff you don't know. Like, oh, no, it's not you. It really is your hormones.
It really is your hormones.
And actually, you taught me, like, actually, if your body is in sync, maybe this is a generalization, but you really shouldn't be having a ton of symptoms around your period.
Yeah.
Too, right? If you're
Absolutely.
right? Like, I know from acupuncture that
Yeah.
you can get that in check and people don't have that. Also that, like, some women suffer immensely. With periods 2 weeks every month.
Yeah.
You know? Anyways, periods we'll talk about another time, but
Yeah. Okay, so we can round these up a little bit quicker.
do we have anything positive?
So our skin changes, it becomes drier and thinner. So you really see that with women in menopause, and more prone to bruising, electric shock sensations. So feeling like, and this actually, I had someone recently come in where it feels like all of a sudden out of the blue, you're being zapped. Like, that's what it feels like for this person. And I'm not sure, because I haven't had a ton of these women come in, but for this person, it was right before a hot flash.
Oh, interesting.
I'm like, that's hellish. That doesn't sound fun.
Yeah.
Nothing about that sounds fun. Body odor changes. Hormones change. Body odor can change. That's definitely something. And also, too, if you're having hot flashes and night sweats, sweating more.
You gotta put deodorant all over your body.
Yes.
Oh my
I feel
God.
like, you just want to
Put that stick
all over. Breast pain and tenderness. We talked about brain fog.
So many of these symptoms could be confused with other things that are like really scary too.
Yeah.
So there's probably a lot of women having this, so scared that they have some other thing.
Yes.
And don't know, like, oh, you're maybe, hopefully, most likely it is just your perimenopause and it will go away.
So this is the thing that I talk about a lot. I know doctors don't want me to talk about this because I feel like, especially we're in Canada, so maybe it's different in the States, but in Canada, doctors don't really want women coming in and telling them what they want tested. And I think I've had my own personal experience with that did not go very well when I suggested what it is that I was looking for. And what I had suggested was after even seeing a naturopath, and I had a bunch of symptoms, and she was pretty convinced that I not only had hormonal changes, I was at the age, I was going through perimenopause, still am, and a thyroid issue. And she was more than positive that's what I was going through. We went through all the symptoms, and it was weird because I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, weird that I could pick this out for somebody else, couldn't figure it out for myself.
It's always the way.
Went to the doctor and said, these are all the symptoms that I'm having, and I would love to have these things tested based on the symptoms. And holy crap, I was shocked because, first of all, I thought I was so happy to get a woman doctor because it was a walk-in clinic.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is a woman who's going to understand. I was glad I didn't get him in because I was like, this woman's going to understand. She had almost like a meltdown. It was so interesting to watch it unravel. But basically, in the end, she, in a very angry way, filled out the lab report and pretty much threw it at me and said she did not think that I had hormonal issues or a thyroid issue, but she was going to give me the requisition anyways because she felt that I was so determined that I had these issues that if I was going to leave and go see another doctor until someone gave it to me, and she didn't want to waste our medical system on that. And she said to me, then she, after throwing it at me, that's what she said to me, opened the door and said, don't come back for your results. I was like, what just happened? I was mind blown.
You triggered something in her.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I could not believe that just happened to me.
That is shocking.
Shocking. But if I can say this, I've had conversations with other women who have had similar, not maybe to the extreme of rudeness that I had, but where they've blatantly said, no, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, it's very interesting. So what I'm going to say is I do think, and I think it's a huge thing to have hormones tested in your teen years, in your 20s, in your 30s, so that when you get to your 40s and your 50s and you're going through this, you have a good idea. You have an idea of where your hormones are. And you've got markers and you've got a history to go by. I think it's so important. And I think it would help women who are in the fertility years, who want to get pregnant. And this is going to be a great way for them to be like, okay, this is what you should have them every, I don't know, 3-4 years. Not even I'm just saying every decade. Yeah. But I think it should be way more than that. Why is this not done? Yeah. There's so much
cost on the medical.
But you can also pay out of pocket. And have them done.
Yeah, in Canada.
In the States, you can do that, for sure.
If you have the money.
So, if you have the money.
Yeah.
So,
I did, the Cleveland Clinic, I saw a thing that said you can get your FSH level tested to find out if you're in perimenopause. Not that it's 100%, but it's like you're saying, a marker.
Yeah. I'd love for women to be able to have that. So, I'm always saying to women, if you've got symptoms, take them to your doctor and ask if they can do a hormone panel. Yeah. That'll give you a good idea of what's going on. And there's ways to be able to find some balance in that, especially if you choose to go the hormone replacement therapy. See, this is what happens. And the HRT, if you want to go through the HRT, then you can do that. Or if you want to go the natural route. So you've got options. So that's the first thing. Knowledge is power. 100%. Yeah. The other thing is there's things like acupuncture. So that's a big part of my practice. I see everyone from teenagers to women trying to get pregnant, women who are dealing with dysmenorrhea, amenorrhea, so painful periods, or have hormone issues such, like PMS or no periods, having trouble with fertility, everything right into perimenopause and menopause. So there are therapies out there that you can do. Yeah. Natural. Yes, natural therapies that you can do. It may not fix everything. You may need things in conjunction. And the other thing is that there's lots of supplements, there's adaptogens, there's herbs that you can take that can help. Black cohosh is so good to help you with the night sweats and hot flashes. So 100%.
I want to say bless you. What did you say? Black.
You want to say bless me? Black cohosh.
Cohosh. What's that?
It's an herb that you can take.
Oh, okay.
I think that there's lots of things what else did I, dong quai, which is a Chinese herb. There's even primrose oil.
So
ginseng, maca.
It helps with the symptoms.
Yes. There's lots of natural things that you can do. For some women, it just nips it in the bud. It's done. Some women need a few different things in conjunction with each other. Yeah. And some women still do the hormone replacement therapy and do the herbs. You can kind of
totally blend both
if you need that.
If you have the
ability. May happen and change as you go along. Yeah.
Just know, like the testing though, just to know. Oh, this is what's going on.
Yes.
That is so healing for someone who maybe feels like they're going crazy or who's like, what is this symptom I'm having?
Yeah, absolutely. And just to know what it's associated with, right? Oh, I'm going through perimenopause. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. I can relax a little bit. This is a normal stage in life where I am right now. Yeah. And I refer to perimenopause as reverse. It's kind of like when we're teenagers. Yeah. I can't even think of the word. This is what's happening. I think I must be still exhausted from the last.
I'm sure you are.
When we're teenagers, what are we going through when we're teenagers? This is what I'm talking about.
I don't know. There's like a name of a phase?
When we're going through hormone.
Oh, puberty?
Puberty.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm like, there's a name of a phase? Yes. Yeah. So when we're going through puberty, this is
people listening are yelling out,
they are. Thank you, listeners, for helping me. I couldn't hear you. That's what I need, Becky. So it's reverse puberty. It is.
Yeah.
It's the reverse of it. And in puberty, our hormones are starting to rage, and then when we're going to perimenopause and menopause, our hormones are starting to decline.
Yeah.
So we're going through this huge change in our body. You can't think that things aren't going. You're going to have some symptoms, and I've talked to women, and they're like, "No, I didn't have any symptoms." I guarantee you had something. Like,
Yeah.
just look
My
at the
mom
things.
does. She thinks she didn't have symptoms.
Yeah. You might have had bloating.
Oh, she did start to get migraines.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Or bloating, and
Yeah.
it's just like not knowing that it's, associated to hormones.
And actually, that reminds me, she went, like here in Vancouver, we have a woman, I don't know what it's called, a women's health clinic or something, which is sort of controversial. It's outside the medical system. And they'll do the 24-hour urine test and tell you your hormones. It's expensive, but she did that. And she said that's like saved her life because she didn't know, why am I suddenly getting these crazy migraines, like at 50, that I can't get out of bed and I never had this. And then they put her on some hormone replacement thing and she was back to normal, but would have been, I don't know how long she would have been struggling with that, right? No, I always feel bad because I'm like, but that's really expensive. Even if you're in Vancouver, that's expensive to pay for that. And if you're in the States, I think it's probably even more expensive. So
in the States, I think they're used to paying for things out of pocket. In Canada, we're not.
We're not used.
And,
but it's like hundreds of dollars. It's pretty, I mean, it's incredible. I did it when I was younger and I had fertility issues. And it's incredible to get like you said, that full hormone panel and to have that power. But it costs money.
Like I've done the full one where you do like the urine test and it's like.
That's what I mean, the 24-hour urine test.
$500. It was
$600.
Yeah, $500 or $600. It was,
and they send that to the States to test it.
Yeah,
which is even more insane.
I know. So a study presented at a 2019 conference, so at a North American Menopause Society, that's kind of cool, found that night sweats were linked to fatigue, cognitive dysfunction in menopausal women. And then we also have found a direct link between the frequency and persistence of hot flashes and cardiovascular events later in a woman's life. So that's huge. And then an even more scary one was that...
more scary.
I don't know if it's more scary is the right way to put it, but another study found that there's a link between childhood trauma and hot flash severity.
Wow.
Is that not crazy?
Yes.
So we're really finding that hot flashes are more so than just being bothered by some heat. And when women have described it, I personally haven't had one, so I don't know, but how the women in my practice described it, it's like they're on fire inside their body. And you and I had sent you an Instagram little clip, and it was talking with Halle Berry, and she was saying that like it's time to stop saying that what's the big deal?
It's just a hot.
It's just a hot flash. You're a little bit hot right now. It's so much more than that, and that she described it as having almost like little mini strokes every time you have one. Now, in the stuff that I had read,
well, no, she said that's what's happening in the
brain.
Yeah, she's not saying it's like that. That's happening.
That is.
Yeah.
Now, what I had read is that is more so for women who are having severe hot flashes all the time. Mm-hmm. I think if you're having random hot flashes, I'm not sure that's quite the case, but it's the ones where the hot flashes are severe and you've been having them for long periods of time.
Got it.
It's kind of what I read. I want to just clarify that that's the research that I did. It may be every hot flash, but for sure it was the severity of them close together all the time, long periods of time.
Leaves the nodules on the brain from these mini strokes.
Yeah. So.
And then the little nodules cause Alzheimer's, right? Isn't that what she was saying? That the buildup of, she said women in Alzheimer's.
Well, it's cognitive impairment, right? So it's going to have something to do with your memory.
She said women that have Alzheimer's, when they study their brain, they find a lot of these nodules on those women's brain. So, I didn't read the research at all. I'm going off what Halle Berry said, but she was implying that there is a connection between the hot flashes, adding the nodules, which is then causing Alzheimer's for women, possibly.
Well, and it said the frequency and severity may also be linked to heart problems, stroke, and cognitive decline later in a woman's life. And what's the number one cause of death for women? Heart disease.
Right.
Some kind of heart disease. So heart attack, stroke, for sure. Yeah. So if you're having severe hot flashes, then we're going to say definitely go to your doctor, you know. And
how are you defining severe?
Well, that's what it's saying is severe, is you're having them all the time.
All
like
the
it's
time.
interrupting your life. That's how I would say. That's my definition. And what I say to women is like, if this is disrupting your life and you finding joy in life because you're constantly having hot flashes, night sweats, there's something wrong. Like that is an imbalance in the body, and it definitely needs to be addressed.
Maybe now's a good time to bring up a little humor that Wanda Sykes thankfully has some menopause jokes in one of her stand-up specials, which, you know, we always send each other funny things we see around the topics we're going to be discussing. And Kelly sent me a good one that Wanda said, kind of with hot flashes.
Yeah, she had a stand-up bit that was just priceless for us because she talks about, you know, as women, you know, we have our eggs in order to create our fertility, and that we do our due diligence, and then once we can no longer conceive, her little bit was like, and then we set them on fire.
You're no good anymore. Set her on fire.
Yeah,
we're done with
you're
you.
done. Poof.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's great. She's got some other bits too that we really like.
Yeah.
She kind of
she's talking about it.
Yeah. I love that she's talking about it, and I love that she's brought some humor to it. So yeah, we definitely recommend checking her out. The other thing I was going to say, things that you can do. So if you have insomnia, or you've got, for some women who get the anxiety, concentration issues, breath work is really great. Mm-hmm. I love breath work. I think even if you don't have issues, deep breath work.
Totally, yeah.
We'll do a talk on breath work.
And on anxiety, we could do a whole thing. I have so much experience with that. Cut out caffeine. If you get anxiety, do not have caffeine. Yeah. It's such a trigger.
And nutrition, what I'm going to say is, there's so much new evidence coming out, and one of the great things that we're finally talking about is what do women need during perimenopause, menopause, and a big focus needs to be on proteins, fats, and fiber. But I'm going to say this, people are going to hate me, but you do need a little bit of carbs. You need a little bit of carbs. You need them. Your diet doesn't have to be, you know, mostly carbs. Maybe some women do really well with that. But you need to focus on getting enough protein. And that's a really big thing I think a lot of women struggle with because weight gain, I think we talked about as one of the
Actually,
symptoms.
we didn't, did we? Because that was something I read a lot about, that someone was said, suddenly in a year, I gained 20 pounds that I could not lose out of nowhere.
And it sticks.
And it's
usually around the midsection.
Yeah.
So what happens to those women? They exercise more and they eat less. Mm-hmm. And it just stays. And for some women, it just keeps growing. So what you want to focus on is you have to have enough nutrients. So nutrients is really, really important. You need to get protein in. And I say this all the time, which is no one wants to hear. I'm always saying, you've got to reduce your cardio. Like, it's... For some reason, in every woman's head, it seems like they think that cardio is the way to lose the weight. And so the question I always ask is, how is that working for you?
Well, we were raised on the aerobics era.
Yeah. And they're like, it's not. And I'm like, great. Then let's stop the cardio.
Yeah.
Let's start weight training. Yeah. Weight training is what we need, especially for bone density.
Yeah.
You've got to get the protein in. You've got to get the protein. You've got to get the protein in before you work out, after you work out. There's lots of rules around this. We can talk about this more in depth in another podcast, but one of the things that they're finding now is that for women, you have to have about 30 grams of protein within 1 hour of working out, where for men don't need it right away. I think they can wait up to 3, maybe 4 hours. I know it's 3 for sure, where they can wait longer periods. Women can't. You have to have that protein, and you need roughly, I believe it's around 15 grams of protein before you work out. So you need protein before you work out, you need protein after you work out. And then there's lots of little, rules around this depending on what type of workout, how hard you're working out, what physical fitness level you're at. So there's little things, but just to know that you need to get protein at every single meal. You stop skipping meals. That's also going to cause some problems. And stop being afraid of fat. There's good fat, avocados, good fat. Yeah, you want to get rid of the bad fat. So 100%. What else do we need? Water. I don't think we get enough water in. I think that's super important. Move your body. So do the high intensity workouts, but also find some balance, the yin and yang I always talk about. So you need to do exercises that are also restorative inside. So that's why I like the yin yoga, the restorative yoga. You can do half the yoga. It doesn't have to be everything so intense. You need to find some kind of balance in there. So do the high intensity workouts. That's what our body needs, especially as we're aging. And, for some people, they say that the heavier the weights, the better. You're never going to be Arnold, so don't worry about it. We have enough testosterone to do that. And in fact, the women's testosterone is also declining. Right. So we don't have a lot of it, and whatever we have is declining. So you do not have to worry about ever being one of those overly big women. That's just not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Like looking like a bodybuilder.
Yeah, that's just never going to happen. So those are my little kind of tidbits I think that you can work on, think about. There's tons of good books out there. So what I'd love to do is leave in our notes some recommendations for books. I've got some books, and I'd even like to leave some podcasts that I love to listen that I've listened to that I think were really helpful to me that others might also enjoy. But definitely some books that you can start to educate yourself, find out some more information. What we wanted to do today was give you some common symptoms that women experience during menopause, but also the things that nobody talks about, like the bugs crawling on you.
Oh, don't bring it up again.
I bet you most women did not know that. And so,
well, I can only hope someone that's been having that and maybe thought that they were having like some sort of mental health
or going crazy
breakdown. Yeah. It's like, oh my God.
That I'm going through perimenopause.
You wanted to educate. Yeah.
Yes, we wanted to educate you and empower you. And honestly, go to your doctor. Try and get a hormonal panel. Find out what's going on. Find out where you are.
But expect that maybe you'll be met with
maybe...
You might have to fight for it a little.
You might have to fight for it. But know that if you have the means and you can do it out of pocket, do it out of pocket. Mm-hmm. Or go see your naturopath, somebody, or your functional medical doctor who I think will listen to you to give you a little bit more support. Mm-hmm. So,
or if you can only afford one, the Cleveland Clinic said, which even in fertility, they test your FSH level. Yeah. That's about So at least that can tell you most likely if you're in perimenopause or not.
There you go.
I do want to leave on a slight positive, which there's a quote from Tracy Ellis Ross, which made me think we could maybe be in a positive but maybe that will be the next one. But I love what she said. She said a friend of hers said this to her when she started going through all this stuff. And she was like, it's such a shame there's no information. No one's talking about it. She's like, this is an invitation into your wild woman phase, to being a moon driver. You've spent years being driven by the moon, and now you are going to drive the moon. And she's like, I was like, that's right. I'm about to drive the moon. And I feel like that's such an empowering way to look at it. Once you're on the other side. Obviously, the symptoms are awful, but something to look forward to once you get through it and the symptoms do eventually die down.
Yeah, and they do. That's the whole thing, is it will even out.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always saying to women too, this is the journey, and this is your journey, and that's why really no two women have this experience the same.
Right.
Because we all are coming from different places, and we're all going to experience this a little bit differently. So know that this is your journey. You have the power to be able to take charge of your own health, and know that now that you know that some of these are things that may be going on with you, okay, now you have the power to be able to say, okay, I think I'm going through perimenopause. Or, hey, you know what? It has been about 12 months since I've had my period. Oh, maybe I am in menopause.
Yeah.
So know that each one of you may be in different stages and may have different
It's not going to look like your friends.
But but also know that you're going through this. So the women around you are probably also going through this.
Yep.
So now you can just help support each other and open up the conversation to say, hey, this is what's going on with me, and maybe allow somebody else to share what's going on with them.
Yeah.
So hopefully this will spark some good girl conversation.
Yeah. And maybe laugh together over what you've been dealing with.
Absolutely.
Because, otherwise you're crying. So laugh with a friend who's got some other funny stories. Woo! I'm going to be thinking about this for a long time, Kelly.
Yeah.